I was just talking about Chris Williamson being suspended over these, you know, manufactured anti-Semitism claims against him, or manufactured claims of a pattern of anti-Semitic behaviour claims against him. It's all nonsense. Obviously, you know, Chris Williamson, a man who tells uncomfortable truths to power, a man who, you know, holds power accountable. Chris Williamson, as I've just shown you, and indeed, you know, a man who's willing to ask them, you know, the difficult questions while standing up for the working man. That Chris Williamson, much like this gentleman, George Galloway. And the reason I'm talking about him is because he has been sacked by, I love this in iNews, Rupert Murdoch's talk radio over an anti-Semitic Spurs tweet. Okay, I think you missed the word allegedly there, iNews, because it wasn't fucking anti-Semitic, assholes, and that's why I picked this up. You mentioned Rupert Murdoch, but then totally screwed it up by missing the apparently or allegedly anti-Semitic Spurs tweet. It would be more accurate to say over manufactured anti-Semitic Spurs tweet. We'll get to it in a second. This makes me angry. It really does. It makes me angry, because this is all to do with the Tottenham Liverpool Champions League match, which was on last week, on, what was it, Saturday, whatever it was, and he tweeted this out: congratulations to the great people of Liverpool, because obviously they won the football soccer match, whatever they call it, to the memory of socialist miner, congratulations to the great people of Liverpool, to the memory of socialist miner Bill Shankly, to the fallen 96, to those who fought for justice for them, and to the Liverpool Dockers. No Israel flags on the cup. Now, the reason he said that was because the final was between Liverpool and Tottenham, and there were some Israeli flags in the Tottenham end, because apparently Tottenham, there is a large Jewish community that support Tottenham in London, and there were some Israel flags in the crowd. Now, there were arguments between one person and another. It was all blown up, whatever, hundreds of flags. I don't care. There were flags there. There were Israel flags in the Tottenham end. I saw them myself. I made a comment on them to the people I was watching the match with. Yeah, I watched a football match. It was really crap as well. It was a really crap game. But yes, there were Israeli flags in the crowd. I saw them myself. Now, I don't care how many flags there were. That's by the by, and it's all nonsense, because it is not anti-Semitic to dislike Israel. It's not, despite what they are trying to conflate that with. I'll get to it in a minute, but it's not anti-Semitic. Now, I've pointed this out so many times on my show. I've brought on Pete Gregson, and many people have then called me an anti-Semite for actually bringing on Pete Gregson, who is, you know, so against anti-Semitism. It's incredible. The guy is, you know, he's somebody who rocks the boat on purpose to show how nonsensical it all is. And the fact that people don't support him more, then you need radicals like that. He's not an anti-Semite. But anyway, it's not anti-Semitic to dislike Israel or dislike Israel's policy of apartheid, or dislike Israel's policies towards Palestinians. Israel's anti-Semitic policies and anti-Semitic treatment of Palestinians. If you want to talk to me about anti-Semitism with regards to Israel, fine. I'll talk to you all fucking day long. Let's talk to you about the anti-Semitic treatment for the last 70 odd fucking years of the Arabs who are Semites who live in Palestine, shall we? Shall we talk about that fucking anti-Semitic treatment? Because factually, that's fucking right. It's not anti-Semitic to dislike Israel. or to dislike the Israeli flag because what that represents to you. Represents their ideology. It's not anti-Semitic to do that. They're obviously conflating the two things here to avoid criticism of their anti-Semitic treatment of Palestinian Arabs. This is all organised, this treatment of him. There's been attacks of him ever since. There's been an internet pylon. I've watched it today. I haven't really got involved in it, but I've watched it over the last 24 hours. I haven't even watched the GMB thing that he was on this morning, just simply because I didn't have time, but I will do. It's an internet pylon. They've been waiting for this to happen. They've been manufacturing it themselves. They've been waiting for it to happen. So they can conflate these two things and do a character assassination of somebody yet again for voicing his free speech and for voicing his own opinion. A character assassination in George Galloway's case, not the first time, of somebody who is telling the truth. It's been amplified by loads of people. Look at this, Prop or Not are amplifying stuff. And Integrity Initiative have been retweeting stuff about Galloway, trying to associate him with Bannon as well, just because he shook the guy's hand. Prop or Not, Jeremy Corbyn is an old school tool of the Soviet Union. His ultimate loyalty remains with Moscow to this day. It's the sort of shit that Prop or Not do, this authority on what is a bot and what isn't, that they used to inflate the Russiagate bollocks. They're all tools. They're all tools. They're all tools of the establishment. This is how they do it, and then the media use them. It's a big circle jerk. They're all jerking each other off and laughing at the dumbasses. It's not even the people's fault. They're dumb. It's not. The media and the government and these NGOs, they're all sitting around jerking each other off, having a big circle jerk and laughing at dumbing down the nation. Sadly, it's not just George Galloway they're doing this to, and it's not just happening over here. It's the world over. Germany has condemned the BDS movement as anti-Semitic and likened it to terrifying Nazi campaigns. The boycott, diversion, and sanction of an apartheid state. That's Germany. And it's not just in Germany, it's in America too. I mean, I just picked up, there is any number of them, there really is. There are countless laws trying to get pushed through on the books in America. A spate of local and state laws they're all saying the same thing. They're trying to, condemn BDS. It's happening in this country as well. I get emails from people, I get emails from unions saying the same thing. They're trying desperately to get the BDS movement against Israel conflated with anti-Semitism to quash it. We have to fight against this because it's free speech and it's freedom of speech that is at attack here. And they're all attacking the same sort of people, by the way. And you ask, you have to ask why they are doing this. By the way, you have to ask why are they, defending Israel so much? Why are the UK trying to protect Jews, as people say it is? It's not. It's not protecting Jews. It's not about that. It's not about the UK. The UK government. Let me tell you something. I've had so many people ask me about this and say, "Oh, it's the Jews." It's not. Because with the UK Jews, it's not. No. The UK government doesn't give a shit if you're Jewish. It doesn't. The UK government doesn't give a shit if you're Muslim. The UK government, the UK state doesn't give a shit if you're Buddhist, and it doesn't give a flying fuck if you're Christian or anything. It doesn't care. It doesn't care what colour you are. It's still going to treat you with contempt if you get in its fucking way. Look through history. There's not a people we haven't oppressed. What it does care about, the UK, is keeping whatever control and keeping whatever power and keeping whatever hegemony over the world it has and keeping that in place. That's what it cares about. And what it believes is that a strong Israel helps that, in that a weakened Israel would weaken the UK and weaken its hegemony over the world. And what they say is, okay, fine, we'll turn a blind eye to your horrific war crimes and, you know, your atrocities against the Palestinian people. We won't, you know, after all, you know, we're English. Well, we're the UK, we're British. Have you seen our history, you know? We'll turn a blind eye, and we'll sell you our weapons. We'll sell you our weapons as well. As I've explained, billions and billions of dollars in weapons and billions of pounds of weapons contracts going to, you know, Israel and Saudi Arabia as well. And all of this is to stop any brown country in the Middle East from doing well and becoming powerful. It always has been like that. It's a giant game of risk. It's not about the Jews, as people keep saying. Not primarily. There's the Zionists, though, and they're separate. And, you know, the British have said, oh, by the way, you know, big good chaps, and those Zionists, we're hoping, throw some cash our way. And maybe, you know, if we're supporting you, a villa on some stolen Palestinian land. This is why it is. It's not because of this whole big conspiracy and the Jews. No. And they've also, you know, said in return, America gets its 51st state in the Middle East and its staging ground for any war that it's going to do over there to keep hold of its hegemony. And it will go to war to keep hold of its hegemony. Every single superpower in history, every empire in history has gone to war in history if its hegemony and if its power has been questioned and it's about to fall. Every one of them. It's remarkable. It's like clockwork. And it's happening again. And this is why, you know, the UK and the US also say to Israel, the apartheid state of Israel, the occupying force of Israel. Why don't the media just never frame it like that? The occupying force. The occupied people of Palestine. They never call it that. But, you know, this is why they say they'll help you smear, they'll help them smear anybody and tell tales on them for you. And they'll maybe even get them fired from talk radio, which is what's happened to Judge Galloway today by conflating free speech and truth that highlight war crimes with racism. And this is what's happened now, which is worrying because it's really being ramped up. This is. Anybody who's been paying attention will tell you this is really being ramped up. It's almost as if they're preparing for war. But I've got some bad news for you people, because it's not that we're preparing for war. We're actually already in one. We're in several. We haven't declared war on anybody, but we are, as a country, and the United States are too, and other countries, France, I'm thinking, we are complicit in what's known as hybrid warfare. And now we're getting into a territory that's more grey as to what powers the government has over the military-industrial complex. Because it's serious, this is. And the more I've looked into it, the more I've realised something. They haven't silenced George Galloway, in my opinion, because he stands with the Palestinian people, as I do as well. They haven't silenced him because he does that. They haven't silenced him because he said something nasty about Israel's flag. They certainly haven't silenced him because he's an anti-Semite, because it's not, and what that he said in that tweet, that wasn't anti-Semitic. They haven't silenced him. They haven't silenced him because of any of that. They've silenced him because he's anti-war. And that's what this is all about. It's war. It's called hybrid war, or hybrid warfare, and we're in the middle of it. By the way, Han Dodge's tweeted this out. I can't imagine why the Palestinian people feel so wronged and feel like they're treated so unfairly. I'm sorry about what has happened about George Galloway, I really are, but it's anti-war voices they're going for. It's both sides of the Atlantic. And I'm telling you why. It's hybrid warfare, and we're in the middle of it.